Hello friends, welcome back to yet another session of Thinking and Destiny. We have learned what is hypnosis, what is a self-hypnosis, and we have also learned self-suggestion. So how we can apply to our lives. So before we go and connect to the what Percival is going to give us today, let us connect to his consciousness for a while and let his wisdom flow through every one of us. So please sit in a meditative posture, remove your eyewear, clasp your hands, close your legs and close your eyes. Please observe your soft, natural, tranquil breath. Breath is a vital energy because of which we are living on this planet. Please observe it.
ధ్యానం చేద్దాం. కళ్ళు మూసుకోండి. భగవద్గీతలో చెప్పింది ధ్యానం కనుక మనం ధ్యానం చేద్దాం. కళ్ళద్దాలు తీసేసి పాదాలు క్రాస్ చేసుకుని చేతులు పెట్టుకుని వేళ్ళలో వేళ్ళు పెట్టుకుని
Please place your hands on your eyes and slowly open your eyes with a beautiful smile on your face. Before we go further in today's session, let's recap. Balagaru, over to you.
Thank you, Prasanna. So, Prasanna, the last section, in section 25, Prasanna covered self-suggestion. So, let us go through over the summary of the self-suggestion. Self-suggestion is nothing, it is not a self-hypnotism, but in self-suggestion, the doer does not put the body into artificial sleep. So difference between the self-suggestion in self-hypnotism, even though we use self-suggestions in self-hypnotism, in self-suggestion, doer does not put the body into artificial sleep. And self-suggestion is the impression on breath form and the doer in which the physical body act to do or not to do. So it gives the instructions to the breath form and the doer. So by giving the self-suggestion. And self-suggestion plays a part in self-hypnosis. It may be intentional or non-intentional or unintentional. Extraordinary results are produced by intentional self-suggestion. Unintentional self-suggestion is more effective than intentional self-suggestion. That's what he says. So here self-suggestion has active thinking and passive thinking. And passive thinking has more power than active thinking. And it never produces active, the passive thinking never produces active thinking, but it compels the thought, he says. And senses of smell, taste, and seeing, sound, it goes into the involuntary system in passive thinking, involuntary nervous system. From there, the doer it goes into the doer and the breath form, and it connects from there. It connects to the voluntary nervous system. That's how it it goes from the involuntary to the doer breath form into the voluntary. So passive thinking is unobserved. Passive thinking is unobserved, automatic. It gives power to active thinking. It is concerned with present objects perceived by senses and has deeper effect on breath form than active thinking. But here, according to him, he says passive thinking is more effective than active thinking. So passive thinking has more clarity and works through involuntary nervous system. Passive thinking is same as nature imagination. It connects to feelings of the doer and memories. In passive thinking, senses and impressions works with the feelings and desires of the doer under the light of intelligence. And here, examples of the passive thinking are goals writing, saying affirmations loudly. And also he says early morning affirmations and the night affirmations before going to bed makes a strong impressions on the breath form. In active thinking, effort of the doer to hold the light on light of the intelligence on subject presented by doer or senses. So here in active thinking, effort, we need to put effort by the doer to hold the light of intelligence on the subject. So we need to put some pressure or effort. Effort is needed. In active thinking, attempts to gather light and then we focus on it. We gather the light and we put the focus on it. This requires pressure of desire, which makes an impression on the breath form. Usually this impression is faint because doer cannot give undivided attention. Forces of passive thinking can be used to cure diseases and also to get wants, and can bring right active thinking through this. All passive thinking is self-suggestions, whether intentional or unintentional. Mostly people do unintentional self-suggestions without an object or goal. Unintentional self-suggestions doer feels in the voluntary system. So unintentional works through voluntary system. Here, motor nerves of voluntary system goes to the magnetic electric inner bodies of the sensory nerves, and from there it goes to the involuntary nervous system. Then it forms a impression on the breath form. The transfer of back and forth of the involuntary and voluntary nervous system made through the pituitary body. Passive thinking compels active thinking. It forms a thought. When power of faith is added, it cures the disease. Then only the cure is possible, he says. So repetition of affirmations gives astonishing results. That's what he says. When one says affirmation aloud, sense impressions come through optic nerves and auditory nerves, and their power of increases and goes into the passive thinking. That's how we know it works when we say the affirmations louder. Anything can be cured by self-suggestion. With faith and self-suggestion, any health condition or disease can be cured. All pains, blemishes, overweight, inflammation, ulcers, abnormal growth, fever, diseases of sexual, stomach, bladder, kidney, and all these can be cured with self-suggestion practice, he says. Treat the body part as a whole, not separate by self-suggestion. He says this is very important. You should not treat that part separate, but it should be treated as a whole, whole body. One can get rid of the feelings through the self-suggestion. One can get rid of the feelings of fear, despondency, shyness, lack of confidence, and all these can be substituted with opposites, he says. So with self-suggestion, we can cure lying, and also because it works through the mental. With self-suggestion, we can cure lying, dishonesty, cowardness, and selfishness. And also with self-suggestion, one can increase IQ and we can also get power to think clearly, and we can get away from unnecessary discussions. That's also he mentions. So here also he mentioned a small prayer of self-suggestion for physical well-being, which I do not want to, go through. And also moral improvement. He also says through the self-suggestion, we can also increase our moral values. And also he says no money or other gifts should be received for giving or teaching the practice of self-suggestion to anyone. And self-suggestion cures of the disease are real, better than, he says, better than medicines which only treat symptoms. So through medicines, doctors, we are treating the symptoms, but here it works better with self-suggestion. Until there is a balance between signature of the disease and signature of the cure, disease exists, he says. That means with balancing the thought, the disease will be cured. Until the balance, it stays, the disease stays. When the balancing of the thought occurs, the disease will be cured. This self-suggestion aligns with senses, honesty in saying, truth in thought. It is very simple. Without paying money to somebody, this works. And also self-suggestion can cure physical, mental, and inner bodies, and train inner bodies, and also training of the senses and breath form and the doer. And also he says we can train the senses, breath form, and the doer. If one's destiny does not permit, the relief of the disease is not possible by the self-suggestion method, he says. Negative thinking, doubt or negative thinking of it is not possible. When we have a doubt or negative thinking, self-suggestion is not possible. Mental attitude prevents the signature of the cure or on the breath form. That is how we should have full faith. Any doubt, he says, it may not work. Repetition of the formula or the affirmation lead to balancing of the thought of the disease, which leads to cure of the disease. This is what I have, the summary.
Thank you, Balagaru, for a detailed summary. Now, in today's class, we are actually giving an overview of how the Eastern movement was there. How the Eastern movement is like, how the knowledge was. All this knowledge, according to the Percival, all this knowledge came from the East only. So West do not have this kind of knowledge. But instead of getting as is a knowledge, how the East also lost their knowledge. If you remember the wise man concept that we have, so wise man is there in the initial civilizations, and they used to tell all the things. And these wise men we lost those wise men, because wise people will be there only as long as so there are some people who want them to be here. So there are at some point in time, people don't want those wise men with us, because people started we know everything kind of thing, right? So we know everything, and so we separated from the God, and we came into the duality, and how we got separated. So that is what how the degeneration of ancient knowledge was taking place in the Eastern movement, and how much the knowledge was passed to the West. So those are the things that we are going to learn today. So let me bring up the slides for you. Where is PowerPoint? So mental destiny, we are in section 26. Okay, we have been talking mental destiny for quite long, because that is most important. So this is what the today's agenda: the Eastern movement, Eastern record of knowledge. Where are our Eastern records of the knowledge are there? Our Vedas, Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, whatever, all those things. Degeneration of the ancient knowledge and the atmosphere of India. So this is what we are going to teach. So here, over the hundreds years ago, the scholars translated the books of Eastern philosophy and religion for the West. Theosophical movement made Indian philosophy prominent. Then thoughts from the Eastern literature attracted wide attention. So this is where our Eastern movement was attracted, because who was the Blavatsky, right, who came from the Russia to India and learned all those things, and she made a significant impact on significant contributions to the Theosophical Society by researching all the literature, especially the Indian literature. She wrote so many other books from that also. So she's well ahead of the game, and even now it is very hard to understand her books. So this is because with the Theosophical Society work only, our Indian philosophy came to the West. So these are the Western people has studied a lot of other things, and the Theosophical movement they were started. Then all the scriptures and all the things came out. Why can't we bring those things before? So that is all we are actually coming up. Old Eastern nations had a record about the knowledge which the West not, which West they had not. So we have that record of knowledge. The bundle of the knowledge is there within us, whereas the West do not have that kind of knowledge. It is a vast chronology based on the astronomical cycles, the history of the world, divided into the ages, information about the structure, functions of the body, correlation of the forces in man and the universe, existence of the other worlds within and without the visual earth. This much in one sentence is how much he mentioned. Remember, it has astronomical cycles. All the astronomical cycles are there. The history of it, the world, how the world was divided into the different ages. That information is there in our books.
Yugas.
Information, yugas, yeah. Information about the structure of the functions of the body, how the functions, how many bodies are there. Basically, we say that physical body, astral body, and spiritual body, or a divine body, or whatever. The three bodies we are consisting of, and what are the other bodies that we have. All that information about those bodies. Correlation of the forces between the man and the universe. So man is consisting of the 5 elements. So how this person is correlated with the universe. We have everything. We have fire in our digestive system. We have the water in our we have water in our system, and we have the air in our circulatory system. Okay, we have the earth within us. So everything, all the things are how we are correlated with the universe. Existence of the other worlds. There are other worlds. It is not just this world. There are the other worlds. Okay, the astral world is there. Other worlds are there. Below and above, there are the 7 lokas up above and 7 lokas below. All this knowledge is existing with us. Is existing with us long, empty number of, we cannot even count those number of years back itself. We have this knowledge. Vedas, Aparashaya, we don't know when that knowledge came. So those munis, those people have given us some point in time where we are losing our memory, where we are actually not using our memory, where we got the doubt that we will lose our memory. Then we started writing up. But it is existing before so many years. That is the oldest. We cannot say that is a religion. It is the way of living. I can say it's a way of living. That is the only way of living in those days. Then it dealt with some of the hidden forces by which the life of the man of the earth functions, with some elements, elementals, gods, and intelligence. So then it is dealt with the, okay, we got, here it is a small God, gods. So Surya Deva, Varuna Deva, Agni Deva. So these are all because we have given that these things, right? The natural elements, whatever the Panchabhutas, we have given each one is the god. That is actually the original gods. Those are the gods, because without air, you cannot live. Without sun, you cannot survive. Without water, there's nothing we have. So these are all the gods actually. Now we ourselves created so many gods, and we started worshipping it and wasting all these things, the necessary things, right? If you are actually thinking somebody is the supreme force is there, the air is the supreme force. Without the proper air, now because something happened in Canada, until Virginia, people were asked not to come out of the homes. See, something happened in Canada. That west side is also coming, and this east side also up to Virginia, people asked not to come out because the air quality was less, because some wildfires has happened. See how you have to confine yourself, because if air got polluted, how much the bad is happening, right? So these are the original gods. These are the gods which we have to worship and which we have to take care. Water, if we can, we may give so much of money that we are earning. We may give all the positions to the kids. But if we cannot give a pollution-free place, if we cannot give the pollution-free place, or if we cannot give the good water, good natural resources, then how in the world they can survive? You may give so much money, but in order to survive, these are the things that they need it. Okay, so they talked about all these things, right? Was given in the original. That's what I say. Varunadeva, Agnideva, all these are there in our scriptures itself. Eastern sages had the knowledge of it is originally, not now, had the knowledge of the relation of the doer to its body. They know that what is the relation of the doer and the body, and of the control of the body through training, through the use of nerve currents. They knew about the science of breath. See, we have learned, even Shirdi Sai Baba book, when you are reading, we saw that the yogi, he took out his intestines and he just washed and cleaned and just kept it, which means they have that kind of knowledge. They can play with the body. They are separated from the body. They can play out with the body. That much knowledge they have it. How the body is, how the nerve currents can be working. Everything they have the knowledge. If Vedas, everybody says, oh, in Vedas, they said this ritual has to be done. In Vedas, they said this. Only we talk about rituals. Vedas is having lot of science, lot of mathematics. Now the Western people are going and they are studying and they say Vedic mathematics. In US, you see many boards than in India. Okay. All these things, why? Because this knowledge is there within us. They know the science of breath in the long back, how the breath is important than the science of the breath. States of the death. What are the different states of the how many deaths are there? Human hibernation of the mystic trance states. When you are going to the trance states, how the human is getting hibernated. Possible extension of the life. Virtues of the plants, minerals, and animal matter, everything was known by the Eastern philosophy very, very long back. The powers operable by the means of senses, powers operable by the means of our senses, seeing, hearing, tasting, and smelling. What is the powers that we can operate with those senses? Changing the matter from one state to the another state, which are unknown to the West. West doesn't know. The mind to matter was known only by the Eastern people. Later, so many books were translated, and Western people has experimented. Western people has experimented, recorded, and then they bring it up with the proof to the humanity. But this knowledge existing in the Eastern very, very long back. Knowledge was taught to the East by the wise men. Who was the wise men here? Those could be the Munis or could be whoever it is, right? Whoever taught those Vedas for those people. That knowledge was taught by the wise men in the past. Nothing remains. Few records only. Even they are also changed. That's what he's saying. Nothing remains now. Only few records are there, that too tampered because they changed according to the convenience. Wise men withdraw after the human beings has ceased to follow the teachings. Once the human beings have started ceasing, they stopped following this wise man. Then this wise man said, okay, namaste. If we come to this earth by serving you, we may added up more karma and we may have to stay like this with you. So they withdraw themselves. Wise men will stay as long as people show desire to go along right lines. People has to show the desire to go along the right lines. Then only we will say that these wise men will stay. Because when nobody is listening to the wise men, they will say, okay, they are coming to this earth planet. Even Ramana Maharshi, Sai Baba, all these people. Now, why they have taken the earth? It is not their karmic bondage. Patri sir, why he has taken the earth? It is not his karmic bondage. He wanted to help the humanity. So each of them has some certain goal. Ramana Maharshi always taught, okay, inquire yourself. Who am I? Okay, I'm Prasanna. No, it's not your name. I'm working as a project manager. No, it is your profession. I studied this one. No, it is your. It's what you are having. I'm owner of this house. No, it is what you earn with the money that I have given to you. So I'm a mother of the two kids. Those kids were born through you. You are not. You are just the thing. So then, who am I? Nothing. If you started inquiring, these are all not defined by the me, then who am I? So he, with the inquiry, he took it. Okay. So when there is a religion, things are there. So Sai Baba took an incarnation and he wanted to we wanted to eradicate those things between the Hindus and Muslims, and he tried his best, and he tried to give his Atma Gnana for everybody. And he, whatever the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna told, he also told that since you are not your body, you are the Atman. You have to learn that one, and you have to for that particular self knowledge, you yourself has to put your efforts. Okay, that is the one. Then Padri sir came and he said, no, meditation is only the solution that you guys has to do it. If you meditate, you are able to understand that who you are. You will understand that the same what you have within you also there in everybody. So you will realize that Aham Brahmasmi state. So that is what his purpose. So why all these people came to this earth planet? Because they wanted to teach. They will be here as long as we wanted to listen to them. If you are not listening, if you are not following, they will not stay back. They will withdraw themselves. They will withdraw themselves and they'll go. Because if they came to help us for evolving. If they are not, then they will go. That is what happened in the past. Knowledge was taught. Degeneration of Eastern knowledge. How it got is when those, because wise men withdraw themselves is a degeneration, right? When those to whom the knowledge and the power has been given used it worldly advantages and refined selfishness. So they were given some power. So when they used that power for their worldly advantages to possess the things, or worldly advantages to have your luxury life and all, and refined selfish. So for your selfishness, if you are using, then there's no, that's where your decline will start. Your degeneration will start. Your decline will start. That's what. Suppose if we are having, because we have the money, let us take. We are in the totally, whoever is there in my lesson, like in this particular session, or whoever is listening, even in the YouTube also, we can say we are in the top 1%. In the top 1% here, we are all there. Okay. So why we were given that fortune was given for us. We took a promise there. If you can give all the necessary things with not much of effort, we can use our time to serve the society. That's how we came. Then God has said, okay, granted, go to the earth. Then we came. The fortune was given because as promised by the God, whoever it is, because God or we took that fortune. We came and we came with all the fortune. But we forgot our promise that we want to serve for the society. We forgot and we are just enjoying it. That is what is happening. So when that is there, then a decline was started. The existence of the wise men became legended except a few. So there's no wise men now, only except one or two. There's not much of the wise men. They are not legend wise. They are not a proper kind of gurus or something. So very few people are there. That's what he's saying. Some of them who knew the teaching gradually became the priests. Some of them who knew this one, right, who knew this knowledge, they became priests and developed the priestcraft. So they developed a new profession, priestcraft, and religious systems with the knowledge remaining with them. So they started with this religion knowledge and they kept that knowledge within them. They kept that knowledge within them. They didn't distribute the knowledge. How actually the degeneration happened, this is what it happened. They transcribed the knowledge into the words which required to be read with the keys. They have transcribed the knowledge, but they have not given everything. They have to go and transcript with the keys, right? So you just need to go and understand the things. Maybe if they have written the Sanskrit, which is not a common language, so people cannot learn it. And also they have written in a 2 lines lot of meaning. So one Shankaracharya will say one thing, Ramanujacharya will say one thing, Madhvacharya will say one thing for the same 2 sentences. So that means you need to have the key, you need to have some teacher to understand it. They omitted the parts of ancient teachings and fabricated additions to meet their ends. Remember this. They omitted, actually some of the knowledge was omitted, and they added some of the things to meet their ends. No God will say that I will punish. No God will say that I will punish. Suppose if you say, because I'll take an example of being all are Hindus, Satyanarayana Swami Katha, right? So they at the end they'll say, because they don't eat the prasadam, then God punished. Here, this is all a fabricated story. Okay, the original thing could be, the original thing is a different thing. But the fabrication also, I will say why they must have done it is because you are not anyway doing, if you can, because the world has changed, right? If some people are saying, okay, go and find out the God within you, you are the Aham Brahma, you are the God is within you, so just feel that Aham Brahma, so nobody is caring. I don't want because I'm happy. Because of that, these people must have to change those stories saying that, oh, your worldly things will also go if you don't do that. Because it is not about the prasadam, it is about the Bhagavan Anugraham, whatever that God Anugraham, right? So like this, so many things were done. If you don't do this, this might happen. If you don't do that, that might happen. Even nowadays, even now today, something in my family, somebody called and okay, they said, okay, so the girl got matured and we are doing the blah, blah, blah. I said, what is this in this modern age? Why are you making it a big deal? No. Otherwise, something bad might happen. So that kind of thing, that kind of belief system went into a nerve system itself. Who did it? So it started long back, not now. They forgot the large part of the ancient knowledge. Actually, the original knowledge was forgotten. They suited the philosophy to the environment of the country, to its vast mountains, plains, waters, juggles, hierarchy of the gods, devils, mythological monsters and spirits. So they started writing so many stories, so much of the things, and all those things, they started suiting to that particular thing. They have written these things. They fostered the superstition and ignorance. They put 4 classes of the doers. They divided the doers into the 4 classes. The caste system came into the existence. Caste system holds many persons out of their true class. Actually, their true class was not given. The Brahmin, if you say, who is the Brahmin? The one who understands the Brahma within him, Brahman. The one who understands is the Brahman. It is not that one who born in the caste of Brahmin is a Brahmin. The one who understands the Brahma is a Brahmin.
And also who, understands and practices.
Practices. Yeah, understands and practices. But it is not, but nowadays, whoever born, okay, they were superior, that is how it started long back. They restricted the acquisition of the knowledge to certain layers of the people. Okay, the Vedas cannot be read by these people. Gayatri Mantram cannot be read by women. Omkaram cannot be chanted by certain people. So whatever that vast knowledge we have, they kept within that. So they just holded it back. So they didn't distribute this knowledge. They subverted the philosophy to support their system of priestcraft. They supported because they want to survive because of the priestcraft. They subverted this knowledge and they have not given to anybody. Okay. Whole course of living and thinking was arranged on the religious foundation of science, art, agriculture, marriage, cooking, eating, dressing, laws, and everything rested on the religious observances, which made the priest necessary everywhere. So if the boy was, if a kid was born in that, okay, we have to see the planets, the priest has to come, whether it's a good time or a bad time, any Shani is there, any Shanti, we have to do it. So from there, the priestship started. If you have to do any, Namakaranam or anything, the ceremony was that one more ceremony introduced. For that ceremony, some rituals was introduced. For that ritual, the priest has to come. Like this, for anything, some rituals was introduced. And here in this whole rituals, we lost what the great knowledge that we have from our ancestors. India gradually lost the freedom and responsibility. So slowly it lost it. Invasions happened, internal wars happened, diseases devastated the land, which was repeopled several times. So several times all the people has been changed. All this knowledge was gone. Each time the people got further away. Each time something is happening, they are getting further away from enlightenment people. That enlightened age, they moved off from the enlightened age, which had been when the wise man moved among them. When the wise man is there, so many enlightened people are there. If those wise men are still there, the land would have been much richer. Today, they only have remnants of the past, which greater than they know. They don't know how much they have it. They just have the remnant parts. Whatever the Vedas we have, the small parts of it. We say in one of the Purana, they say, right, I want to read the whole Veda. He gives one Guppada Veda. That itself, it took so many years. That much knowledge we have. People cannot see real in unreal. What we have is unreal. We cannot see the real, what it is there. Their customs, observances, traditions hinder their progress. Because of these customs and all, it is hindering the progress of the people. Many statements from the Upanishads, Shastras, Puranas, and other writings that are for the great value. They have so many great value. Aham Brahmasya, Tatmamasi. These things have a lot of value, right? So we have the values. There are omissions and additions that have been made in the course of time. In this also, there are so many omissions and the additions that happened. The presentation of the Eastern knowledge to the West is further made difficult. It became further made difficult because the way the Eastern method of thinking is, until the way the expression of the Eastern people is totally different from the Western people. So they made it much more complicated. Eastern knowledge is impeded by the exaggeration, dispersion, mysteriousness, ciphers, episodes, and figurative style of Eastern writings. There are so many different ways. So much mythology we have written, and we are referring that mythology. The Western people cannot understand all those things, so it became so difficult for them. Standards of East in the art, literature, all are different. All the standards are totally different from the East to West, East and West. Here the spelling is West. Standards of East and West for everywhere, it is totally different. The East is weighed down by age, tradition, environment, and declining age. So it was not only by age it got declined, by tradition, by whatever the traditions we have also, it got declined, environment, everything. So we are not understanding whatever the knowledge that we have. We are just simply blindly following so many things. I gave a couple of examples previously also. Like previously, people used to do the small example. I'll take people they used to have the big place in front of the home, right? So they used to put all this kallapi kind of thing, and they put the rangoli, the thing, right? So now people, that festival come, let us just do some chalk pieces and do it. But what is the purpose that they have done with that in those days? Anyone can tell? What is the purpose?
Yeah, the rangoli they used to because the ants.
Rangoli they use rice flour actually. Instead of rice flour, we are using pieces. So rice flour, it's even that small creatures can.
That is, it feeds the small ants and creatures.
Yeah.
It feeds the ants, and also why we are doing that thing is if there is anything that bacteria is coming up, it can kill. That is the thing.
Antibacterial.
Bacterium.
That cow dung we use for killing
cow dung. Cow dung that we are using.
And also the turmeric. Yeah, the
turmeric is an antibacterial. It has a lot of antibacterial properties, right? So when you are putting on the entrance and also your feet, when you are putting in the feet, the lot of heat in the body can just absorb it. So this is a purpose. They kept it for some purpose. But now if anybody asks, at least I'm happy that people here are able to explain. But so many people doesn't know, because when I go to the functions, right, especially next generation kids functions, right? Because we know when we are here, next generation kids married, like they married black people, they married white people, all the people. There's all the kinds of mixing. So when I go to some functions, so we do our rituals, right? When we started doing rituals, these Americans will come and ask, okay, why do you do that? Why do you do this? They wanted to know the significance behind it. One of my friend function, because her daughter is a doctor in Bel Air. So she always says, Auntie, you need to be here because my friends are coming. My mom doesn't know to explain all those things. So we don't know that kind of knowledge, right? So that's how we forgotten all the things. But we blindly follow putting the chalk pieces. What is the use? And we blindly follow, we want east facing house. We made, even for these realtors also, we made them that you can sell the whole east face house for a more premium price. But what is the use? In east face house, if you open the door, the sun will come inside. That is the logic behind it. That is the science behind it. But in the modern world, either in apartments or in our case, we never open our front door.
Yes.
At least we may open at least the backyard door, but we never open the front door. Then what is the use of buying a east facing? We have to buy west facing, so that the opposite thing we can at least open, or we can, because the hall will have the big windows, you may get some sun inside. That's the logic we need to follow, right? We are not following, we're just going blindly. We became such a ritualistic, some tradition was kept, go blindly, hit the thing. Why you
Condition.
are doing bad condition? We became so much conditioned, so much belief system was formed within our nerves. That is why I started that course, Know Your Potential, for the kids. I want to catch the kids before some belief system was forming into them. They wanted to understand their potential before actually the society is imparting some belief system in that. Now what is happening is, because we are not able to give a logic, our kids won't follow. If we can give the logic, they will follow. Definitely they will follow, because if you can give a logic. When a girl matured, they used to give some kind of chimney kind of thing. They used to give it the jaggery and sesame seeds. Okay. So they say it's a tradition, you have to eat. If you say the tradition, why should I eat? But the sesame and the jaggery,
it has calcium and iron.
It has a calcium and iron, which when the girl is losing the thing, right, it is supplementing it. That is the reason they kept it. That is the kind of knowledge the East is having it. All those things West people doesn't know. Now people understand, they are using a turmeric tablets, garlic tablets, all those things now they are using. If you go to the Whole Foods, you will find the turmeric tablets and garlic tablets. Because they understand the medicinal value behind our things, and they started using it. So this kind of knowledge that Eastern is having, because we cannot give the logic to our kids, they will question. Then definitely the next generation kids, as a spiritually also we know, the kids born after 2000 are the most evolved souls. So when they are most evolved souls, they want to know that reasoning behind it. Without that, they will not follow anything blindly, remember. So we have to give kind of reasoning. If you want to give a reasoning, first we should be equipped with the knowledge. Don't say anything, this is good, so do it. No, it is not the good. It is good for such a reason, for some reason. Ask them to do meditation. If they can do that meditation, let's say yesterday when the kids came, so the word meditation comes, even the parents, the parents are, why for kids kind of thing, right? It is, so that kind of illusion should come out of it. It is not, if you are doing a meditation at the age of 80, when everything is gone, what is the use? What are you going to learn and earn and give it to the society? Before death, if you do that meditation.
Wisdom right? Itself, it's saying you are the Atman. So that is the fundamental science.
Fundamental science.
The highest science of all the sciences. That's what we need to teach. And during puberty time also, girls usually they used to sit for 3 days, 5 days and the rest. So it is also very important. And during it's they're easily to connect their own self. So they will get their inner wisdom during those days. So that's why elders make them to sit in silence. So some reasons are there behind.
Some reasons are there, but we lost those reasons and we started saying, okay, that's a tradition. That is a tradition, you have to sit. Yeah. That is a thing you have to make. We make it as a ritual. That's what I'm saying. We make it as a ritual instead of, because we don't know that, because if the parents know, did our parents give you the reasons? So my parent never gave me the reason. They said you have to do that. That's it. Later I just digged into the reasons why we have to do that. Why everything has so much scientific thing is there. Even the ritual of putting the talambrala in the marriage, right? Why they are putting the talambrala with the paspu? Because of that day, because of that, they make that bridesmaid, right? So the bride, they make it, so they will do a lot of head, it will be, so if it is not absorbed, then they may get sick. So with this the turmeric on their head, all the wetness will be gone with the turmeric, and they can stay healthy. That is how each and everything they have some science, because we need to understand the Eastern tradition. Those traditions are also only remnants. That's whatever that we know, whatever we are talking in this is only remnants. The knowledge that Eastern is having, the way beyond our imagination, that much knowledge the East is having it, and which we have forgotten. That's what the Percival is saying. Recent interest created in the West by the revelation of the existence of the Eastern treasure of the knowledge does not center around the noetic and intellectual features of that philosophy. So recently, the West people started knowing that they got some revelations and they got some interest. So they wanted to understand, but they have not focused on the actual knowledge of this. What is the center of the noetic? What is the intellectual features of the philosophy? Instead, what they focused is saying is clairvoyance. Clairvoyance is something that magic kind of thing, right? I could see what is happening to you, something like that. So astral phenomena, astral travel, astral phenomena, hidden forces, acquisition of the power over the other, how I can acquire the power, all this hypnotism, all those things, the power over the other. So these things the Western has focused, because they can do some tricks and magics, right, with this. So instead of focusing on the self-knowledge, they focused on this. That's what he's saying. Road is opened by, in this interest, missionaries have come from the East to convert the people of West. Okay, again, don't misunderstand now, because missionaries are converting from West to East. That came later. This is previously. This is previous. So then the road is open. So though there are, if you remember, there are six things, six kind of things, philosophies came, right? 6 philosophies came, and they started converting the people into these philosophies. Each missionary came with the good intentions only. They came with the good intentions, but they are weakened in the lure of the West, the price, ambition, all those things, right? Their appetites and ambitions get the better of them, and they succumb the desire of the comfort, price, influence, money, sensuality, which they tell their adherents to overcome. They tell that you have to overcome, but they themselves became into this Maya, you can say. So they themselves came into this, and they have the comfortable life, and they started these are the dharmas, these are the philosophies: Vaiseshika, Nyaya, Yoga, Sankhya, Vedanta, Mimamsa. These are the philosophies. They started like from the ancient times. They started coming into these 4 kinds of philosophies, and each one has their own thing. So the missionaries have the grand titles like Guru, Mahatma, Swami, Sannyasi, indicating the perfection in knowledge. They may be darshana, 6 schools of the philosophy which these missionaries belong. So all these missionaries are belong to either Vaiseshika, who the Maharshi Kannada follows, Nyaya, the Maharshi Gautama follows, Yoga, Patanjali follows, and Sankhya, Kapil Maharshi, Vedanta, Vedavyasa, and Mimamsa, Jaimani. So this became so they divided that knowledge into these things. From this knowledge, what West is picking up. West is picking up only some kind of gimmick they picked up. They teach what's so foreign to the Western thinking. They do not pass the meaning on to the Western. Eastern people, they did not pass on to the actual meaning to the Western people. Western disciples get only the few general inaccurate notions about the Purusha or Atma as the soul or a self, tattvas, shaktis, chakras, siddhis, mantras, Purusha, Prakriti, Karma, Yoga. So these things, as a kind of knowledge they got it, but these are all very superficial knowledge. That's what he is saying. Missionaries work up enthusiasm among their followers, and after a while gave a practical teachings. So they try to attracts these Western followers, and they try to give some practical yoga, that yoga, this yoga kind of thing, where it can be useful their physical need for their daily need. That only they started giving it. They use the practice of yoga. They use the physical meanings to acquire the psychic powers, spiritual enlightenment, union with Brahman, and liberation from the bonds of the matter. So they use this practice for the various things. First, initially the physical health, then acquire some psychic power, maybe the spiritual enlightenment, then get union with your Brahman, and liberation from this matter. So liberation is liberation from this birth, death cycle. The wonders of the breath, swara, and the acquisition of the psychic powers are the chief attractions of these teachers. They used to anchor the wonders of breath, how much pranayama if you do it, how your health will be. So all those, if you chant with your thing, how you can eradicate some of the diseases, how you can acquire the psychic powers. So with these things, this is also the Eastern knowledge, but this is not only the Eastern knowledge. This is very superficial knowledge. There is much more knowledge is there in the Eastern, which was not given, which was forgotten by the Eastern. That is what they are saying. The breath form. So most importantly, he is stressing out at the end, the breath form. The importance of the breath merits a consideration in connection with the breath form and the duyan. The breath form and the duyan, that is important to facilitate an appreciation of the Eastern doctrines regarding it. That's a Eastern doctrine. It was given the appreciation. Actually in the breath form, we will say the moment the breath gone, we are gone, right? So where this breath is going, when we cannot take the breath, we are gone. As simple as that. If you're not able to take the breath in and out, then your soul is leaving your physical body. Then that is the breath. This breath form, is going to stay there. That is what in the coming session we are going to learn. How the breath form is actually traveling. The breath form also is not dying. Your breath form is stamping your name, stamping your soul's thing. So when your soul is gone, when you are gone, the breath form is going with the soul. When your soul is going hibernated, the breath form is ceasing in the atmosphere, psychic atmosphere. When the soul is taking again the breath, when soul is taking again the breath, again this breath form is attaching to that soul. How it is attaching? It is coming when the parents are union. It is coming through the breath form. Or if it is not coming through the breath form, when your cord is cut, the breath form is traveling within you. That's how the breath form is going life after the life. So this kind of knowledge, the breath form, and how actually the breath is not not the one breath. We have the physical breath, we have a mental breath, we have a psychic breath, we have a noetic breath. How all these breath forms are uniting. Which breath? The breath form that we know is, we are taking the breathing through your nose or through your mouth to the lungs, and we are making that breath form through nose, or this breath only we know. But there is a breath is going inside without pores of our skin also, the breath is going. So breath is going inside. And there is a breath cycle is going, the breath is going inside, and then inside to the other holes of the body, right? Through the sex organs also it is going. So that breath, the cycle is also going on. So how all that breath form, how your breath is working on, we are going to have it in the next section 20. Sorry. We can stop it here. That is in the next section. So completely we are talking, because I don't want to start in 3-4 minutes, right? So I just stopped it. So completely in the next session, we are going to talk about the breath form or different kinds of, because we being the meditators are focusing on the breath form, how actually doing it, right? So we will focus on the breath, how it is working on it. It has a lot of science that he mentioned in the breath form, that we will understand it. This is how, in this today's lesson, is the country India, how wealthy the knowledge wise, how we just lost it, right? So this is all yesterday I gave that one somehow I remembered, or somewhere I listened or something, it got connected the students, right? When we are inside the womb of the mom, we are so happy. When we are came out the kids, we are so happy. When we started feeling unhappy, when we are thinking that me, it's my toy, it's my, when you started, it's my toy. The kids started initially, oh, this is my mom bought it, this is my toy, you cannot take it. Started crying. That's where you started your sorrow got started. So when you are doing that, what you are actually, there is some God. God is already within you, right? So when the God is within you, that God, you are actually, what you are doing is ejecting. You are ejecting the God within you out. With what? With your ego. Ego stands for ego. Eject God out. So when you are saying that it's me, you are actually within you, the God is there. Within other person, the God is there. When you understand it, then even you will happily share your toy. The kids, there are kids who will happily share the toys, right? They are happy all the time. They will give, they will take, they will play, because they are able to see. Once the moment, then you are separating, which means that you are separating. You are separate from your God. Whenever that comes out, that ego is coming out, your unhappiness started. Remember, you are ejecting the godly nature or a God within you. You are ejecting out. Then you are out of the box. Then you are thinking that you can do anything, but that's where the misery is starting. Like this, so much knowledge, so much knowledge is there in the Eastern. So at least whatever the gone knowledge, forget about it. At least what is available within us, now, at least if you try to understand, if you try to implement, there's no use of understanding, reading so many books, there's no use. Only when you can implement one of the principles daily, one principle, one extra principle, whatever that you learn into your life, then it will be very happy. That's how we need to understand. Suppose, anything, right? Once you come to the spirituality, anything that happened to you, you have the opposite end. Suppose there's some person is not suddenly stop talking. So previously, you'll start remembering how much I did it for him, why she has to do that for me. So much thinking, you are actually wasting your time. But once you understand all these things, whatever the bonding that I have, whatever that I have to do for her, whatever that is done, my account with her got settled, so she's out of my bed. And she's giving a place to the new people. She's giving my time back to me so that I can do the more. So see how beautiful it is. Yeah. When you are feeling sad about it, you have a lot of agony. When you are feeling that, okay, my bondage with her is done, now I have a place for new people, how nice, beautiful it is. That's how we have to start thinking, because after knowing all this knowledge, that's how we have to implement in our lives the knowledge that we have earned.